some people can go all the way to long prison terms without ever having their Miranda rights read to them, and those are valid outcomes.
This edition of the Ridley Report is brought to you by
Contrary to popular belief, I'm always on the lookout for some reason to praise government people. If they seem to do the right thing in their interaction with opponents, that's news. I don't know what their motivations were, and if it costs taxpayers money, I'd have to technically be against it, but court officials in Keene did seem to go the extra mile to speed up their process this week, rather than leave a young man in jail over Christmas.
He was yelling help. Jesse and Ryan ran outside originally, and Jesse ran out with his shotgun. I saw him when he saw the cops drop to his knees and put his hands in the air.
That's how it started. Jesse Maloney of Keene, whose legal name is, I believe, Corey Maloney, gets arrested when he hears a man calling for help and rushes outside with a shotgun. Civilian witnesses say he drops the weapon as soon as he realizes police are on the scene. Either way, Maloney ends up in the slammer on December 23rd. Instead of holding him until the next business day, officials opened court on Christmas Eve, allowing him to be arraigned and potentially released before the holiday. They continue their policy of relatively unrestricted camera access in the courtroom, so credit where credit is due. But here are some disturbing excerpts from the arraignment as captured by Liberty videographer Michael Garcia.
All right. Thank you. Have a seat, please. Mr. Maloney?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm Judge Burke. I'm in the Keene District Court. We're in the conference room where we have the video equipment, but the courtroom is temporarily open, even though the court's closed today, so there are other folks observing the proceedings outside. There's two complaints here. One is they're both Class A misdemeanors. One is called obstructing government administration. The allegation is that you used intimidation by walking towards Officer English of the Keene Police Department while holding a firearm by the pistol grip with the barrel pointed or oriented in the officer's direction, with the purpose of disrupting his performing an official function, investigating a possible motor vehicle violation. The other one is a common law contempt, alleging that you knowingly violated an order of the Keene District Court dated October 17th, ordering you not to commit a federal, state, or local crime on release. You're pleading not guilty to each of these?
I am, sir. I would just like to point out, though, that I've been in this case custody for over 12 hours now, and I have not been able to speak to my attorney. I was taken straight to Westmoreland. I wasn't even processed. They didn't have an ID and take my fingerprints.
Oh, that's a different issue. So are you going to ask for a lawyer to be appointed for you, or are you going to hire your own?
I'm going to hire my own, sir, but if I speak in my defense for a moment...
You'll have your opportunity. What we're going to do is, first I'm going to listen to the state attorney McLaughlin, the city prosecutor is here, and I'm going to listen to a bail recommendation from him. Then I'll hear from you about the bail question, and I'll make a bail order, and then we'll see where we go from there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what's your recommendation?
I would be for $2,000 cash, Your Honor, and bail before the court to set conditions. In addition to what has been alleged in the motion for determination of probable cause, which is essentially that Mr. Maloney was walking towards Officer English, who was engaged in conducting a motor vehicle investigation with this gun held by the pistol grip, although not pointed directly at Officer English. He was walking towards him with it pointed towards the ground and oriented in his general direction. After his arrest, Mr. Maloney, when he was being transported to the jail, became verbally abusive.
Objection. I was not reading my Miranda warning. I don't think any of that can be held. I can't. That shouldn't even be admissible at this point.
You'll have an attorney, and your attorney can argue those things. This is a bail hearing. right now, and I'm not going to let you interrupt the presentation. I'm not going to let the prosecutor interrupt you either.
I apologize. My apologies in that case.
He was verbally abusive towards Officer English, and at one point, as described in the report, he threatened to slash the tires on his car. The police car then further elaborated that he was going to find out where Officer English lived to slash the tires on his car, his wife's car, and that he would set it on fire. The report indicates that Maloney also stated that he had hoped that I was killed, and elaborated this point by saying something to the effect that he did not care if I stopped a rape or other violent crime. He just hoped I was dead and would be glad about it. This during the transport of Mr. Maloney to the jail. In addition, Mr. Maloney at one point had a permit to carry a concealed weapon. That permit was revoked by the police department, based in part on Mr. Maloney's statements made or attributed to him on a website indicating that he would not hesitate to engage in violent acts toward authority figures. So, based on those factors, the conduct in question and his conduct after his arrest, I think some sort of cash bail is necessary to assure the safety of the community.
All right, Mr. Maloney, the state's made some recommendations for cash bail. They've made some representations in support of that. Now, you don't have a lawyer with you now. I will tell you that anything you say about the case could be used against you, but you're certainly welcome to say anything you want to. I'm only interested in hearing about the bail recommendation and your response to it.
All right. In that case, I would like to point out the egregious violation of my rights when I was not read a Miranda warning.
You don't have Mr. Maloney.
I'm just saying that
Mr. Maloney. Miranda warnings are overrated.
Wow.
In the sense that you do not
Those
have
rights.
to read your Miranda rights under every
Right.
circumstance. Miranda warnings are overrated.
Wow.
In the sense that you do not
Those
have
rights.
to read your Miranda rights under every
Right.
circumstance.
That's true.
If there's anything that you said, it has to be custodial interrogation. Your lawyer will explain that to you. If there's anything you want to say, but some people can go all the way to long prison terms without ever having their Miranda rights read to them, and those are valid outcomes.
Well, okay. In that case, I just want to point out that someone was screaming help. It turned out to be Stone. I was in my apartment last night. I was mugged 2 weeks ago, and I had $180 taken from me. And I thought, my God, somebody's getting mugged again. I went downstairs with my firearm, but it did not have any ammunition. It did not even have a magazine in it. There is no ammunition in that firearm. They have no ammunition from it. It was used to deter. I wasn't trying to hurt anybody. I didn't even realize there was a police officer out there until maybe I was out there for 2 minutes. It was dark out. It was 10 o'clock at night. I was tired. I only heard someone screaming help, and I thought, I just don't want to see someone get hurt. And listen, I want nothing to do with freaking anymore. I'm trying to get out of the state. I'm trying to leave. I've been trying to keep my nose clean because I know I've got that court date coming up, and I just want to get out. I'm done. This was a bad idea coming here. I'm just finished with Keene. I really don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
Is there an apartment number?
Here's all the people that came out for Jesse.
Well, as you can see, Jesse's denouncement of the people who came to support him, at least indirect denouncement of them, obviously triggered a wave of revulsion within the Liberty community. My take on it, though, is more or less to welcome Jesse's apparent departure from the movement and from New Hampshire, but I also think it's still appropriate to question government actions if and when they seem to be excessive against him. Like the average person, Jesse has a situation where we know some of what happened, so we can more easily notice government abuses of the taxpayer and the defendant as they come after this controversial character. So it seems appropriate to stay tuned and continue to notice government missteps where they happen, whether they're happening against Jesse or anybody else.
This edition of the Ridley Report is brought to you by Chris.org, teaching quirky people to build time machines and pull their heads out of their asses. Since 2000 and something. I like gratuitous. Chris.